Hello and welcome to the Lazy Podcast. This is episode 8 of the podcast. It has been a while since I last uploaded an episode of the podcast. I think it's been about 2 months, more or less. On the last episode, I had my friend Mario over for a discussion about if it's university worth it and should you go to university and all that. Great episode of the podcast, and I recommend listening to it if you haven't already. um, and the reason for not uploading an episode of the podcast for so long is I think there hasn't been anything interesting in what I find interesting to upload and to do an episode of the podcast for. On this episode, I want to talk about Casey Neistat a little bit and why I think he is the king of vlogging on YouTube, and he revolutionizes the genre so much. So the last couple of years, more or less, he pretty much stopped vlogging. So he would upload once in a while a video that something happened in his life, or I don't know. Um, and then recently, in the last maybe month or so, he started uploading more regularly. And I can see there's a lot of things that I want to talk about. First of all, I am a huge fan of Casey Neistat. I've always been since 2013, 2014 when he was daily vlogging. Um, so yes, and I think he's a huge inspiration, not only for vlogging, but for a self-made person, for a YouTuber, for doing what you like and doing things your own way. And I have seen a fair amount of him, and I've read about him, and I've listened to podcasts where he has been, like H3 podcast or wherever else he has been. Um, and I know he hasn't had it easy as well, and it's just such an inspiring story for me. Uh, you know, Having it hard and trying to be self-made, and all of that stuff that everyone likes. So if I go to his YouTube page and see sort of like the last 2 weeks of uploads or something, there's clearly a pattern that I can see here. First of all, his videos, all of them are in an average of 5 to 8 minutes, um, and that is only because I think he's such a clever man, and he knows what's happening on social media right now, with TikTok being so popular. And the one thing that we can clearly see is people want one thing, that more content, and they want shorter content. So all of his vlogs used to be 10 minutes, so 10 to 12 minutes, more or less in an average. And we can see a pattern here that he has studied the market, and he has studied the situation, and he is the one to set standards. And because we know he's the one to set a trend that people will follow, sort of with the daily vlogging, and with the sort of cinematic vlogging, and with the time lapses. So he was the first, if not the first, one of the first people to do it, to have sort of traditional, in quotes, traditional storytelling in a YouTube video, whereas before people would be like, oh, hi guys, I'm here to the supermarket. Oh, hey, now I'm here, I'm doing this. Now I'm here, I'm doing this. Or sort of his videos follow story beats, let's say. So it's like he will start with the main event, like the main beat of the video, whatever that is, on the first few seconds, so it just grabs your attention. And then he would start low, so it's sort of like a movie. You start slowly, with the information on what's going on, and then you go high with the main event, and then you close low again. So it's sort of like main traditional story beats, that movies or TV shows follow. So he was one of the, if not the first person, one of the first few people to do it on YouTube. Um, and as I said, it used to be 10 to 12 minute videos, longer videos. But now things have changed on social media, and in terms of attention spanning, and in terms of what people are looking for. Um, so if we go, for example, like I don't know, a month ago. Um, we can see he has a Jamie Foxx gave me a black eye, sort of like a very interesting video where he met Jamie Foxx and a bunch of things happened, blah blah blah. Um, and then that video is 10 minutes 49 seconds. Uh, and then on the next video, it's called Showing You What Happened to Me. That's a 6-minute video. So we can see already he has realized, or sort of starting to realize, that shorter videos do better at this time, at this day and age, because if this was 5 years ago, shorter videos would not go that far because YouTube had that 10-minute video where you can have mid-rolls. YouTube has that now to down to 8 minutes, but if I'm being honest, I don't think Casey Neistat cares about that because I think his videos do well anyway. Um, so we can see, even though he used to upload once in a while, his videos used to get over 1 million views all the time. So if we go like 6 months, which this was only 3-4 videos ago, so he stopped for a while, and he used to, he uploaded once in a while. And then 6 months ago we can see 2.5 million views, and then 4 months ago 1.4 million views, and then 4 months ago again he talks about the Black Lives Matter protests and all of that happened, 1.9 million views. And then surfing at an abandoned water park, which is sort of like a fun video. This is a 10-minute video, so all of these videos are close to 10 minutes that I'm talking about. The water park video has 1.7 million views. And then there's a video called I Don't Know What I'm Doing Anymore. That's 10 minutes 47, 2.7 million views about a month ago. And then the Jamie Foxx video, which has 1.8 million views. And then this is what he's a master at. There's a video with titled "She's Still My Wife," ... but and the thumbnail is him and his wife in a car. I think that video was about him getting fined for a parking ticket. I'm not sure. I've seen it, but I've seen it a while back. And so what this does is it gets more people to watch, because, as I said, these story beats, people who have watched his videos before, they know, like characters. I'm saying characters. They're people in his life, but sort of like if you take it as a short movie, characters like his wife, or his kids, or his friends, or whoever is on the video. So he's using those story beats that people know to get views, and that's very interesting. But no, I like someone that's unknown, for example, like not already established as a YouTuber, could not do that. So if I did that, for example, no one would click on it because I haven't established myself as a vlogger, or my life, or my people around me and all of that. So that's the key difference why he's able to do it, and why that video is able to get 1.5 million views. And then the next video it says never do this on a public bathroom. Again, sort of like a forcing you to click on it, like sort of like you're interested, like, oh, what did he do, I want to click on it. And then the next video is the truth about why I quit, 1.7 million views, and it's sort of talking about why he hasn't been vlogging anymore and all of that. And then the next video is about the GoPro Hero 9. And then the next video, again using the same story beats, I started a fight I'll never win. So you can clearly see a pattern here. So he's either using bits from what's going on his life and all of that. And as I said, not everyone can do that, because not everyone, first of all, has a very interesting life like Casey does. For example, I have tried vlogging, and if I'm not going somewhere, I cannot do a vlog because my life is not that interesting, and most days I'm not doing anything interesting anyway, or anything worth filming, I would say. And again, next video, um, he involves his family again, and then next video saying that he made a mistake, and then it's an addiction and it's real. So he's probably talking about running. Um, so yeah, and then he also talks about an electric car that's not a Tesla. So it's also like it's a very very classic Casey Neistat-esque videos, with very interesting thumbnails. So he's one of the few people that I see always chooses a high quality picture for a thumbnail, and not, not as much text as, other people would use, like thumbnails, made on in Photoshop, and with fancy colors and text and all that. He does not do that. I don't think he ever used to do it. So that's like part of his identity, um, I would say. And yeah, so one thing we clearly can see here is a shorter content, so 5 to 7 or 8 minutes, I would say, which is key to what's going on in today's social media. Another very interesting fact is that in the last couple of years, he has grown from 10 million subscribers to 12.2 million subscribers, and he hasn't even uploaded that much in the last couple of years. The question is, what can people learn from this? If you want to be a self-made person, if you want to do it your own way, and if you want to do, have your own living and set your own rules, he's already an established creator on YouTube with loads of connections, with a big name. His name is a big brand as well, like that companies wanna be involved with, and all of that, and he's always involved in what's happening, in the world as well, sort of like, with the COVID-19 stuff, and with the Black Lives Matter movements, and all of that. So he's clearly following not trends because it's real problems, but sort of what's happening in the world, and you can see that he cares. And one thing that I think he still possesses, even though he's probably a multimillionaire, one thing he still possesses is being an everyday guy with everyday problems, and that's how people are still able to connect with him, because he shows, and it's again that context that is already built with his audiences. He shows he has a family. A family has everyday problems. If you're married, you have everyday problems. If you have kids, you have everyday problems. You know, taking them to school, making lunch, or whatever. Everyday problems that everyday people have, and he is able to turn those situations into sort of like a short movie, a 5 minute movie, every time. And that's why I think he's still maintaining that relatability where other YouTubers aren't able to, um, because of what they are showing to their audiences. He does the occasional video, sort of like flexing, with the expensive flights, and with the expensive, like business class flights or whatever they're called. But someone else is paying for them most of the time. So that's still people. I think he has made it clear that um, whenever he does something that's ridiculous, it's probably paid for, or he's probably working with a company, which is a good thing, because that's how he's able to maintain his relatability with people. Um, and he has the odd video with celebrities like Will Smith, and more recently Jamie Foxx, and all of that. But one other thing that I've always wanted to talk about is him setting trends, him trying, like, one thing that I like about him is always trying to do the next thing. Um, Sort of, he had Beam, and that didn't work out very well. But I think he made a fair amount of money on it. I'm not sure. It's not really what I'm interested in, but he did make his own thing, and then later he tried to do the 368 company, which smaller creators, like every creator, would be able to join and help each other and all of that. I don't know what happened to 368 really. Um, but again, still uh, trying to do things and trying to do your own thing, and not just resting, like relying on things, because he is that guy. He's that guy that always wants to do the next big thing, which is very interesting to me as well, because I have tried to do my own thing with YouTube and whatever that is. So there's definitely a lot of things that you can learn here. So to finalize my thoughts, what can we learn from looking at Casey Neistat is do your own thing, be as creative as possible, try to be as original as possible, and have your own distinct style. Because if you were to show me a random video without a title and without like a thumbnail or something, I would be able to tell that that's a Casey Neistat video, just because of his distinct style and the way he films and the way he sets things and the way he sets his story beats, whether that's through editing or if it's scripted or not, which I don't think the videos are scripted. It's just everyday things, and maybe on in editing, in the editing process, he's able to cut things here and there and make it more interesting and make it look like more dramatized, let's say, which is a great thing. I love it. So be your own, do your own thing, have your own distinct style. Because so on the last, not so much the last year or so, but the last 2 or 3 years, we saw a genre of vlogging with ultra slow motion cinematic videos, and he could very very easily start copying that, sort of like the Peter McKinnon stuff, which Peter McKinnon was one of the first people to do it, vlogging on 120 frames per second and ultra slow motion and ultra color graded and whatever. But I think he didn't. He still, stuck to his own distinctive style with the time lapses and his own cinematic style. And that's why I think he's the king of YouTube and the king of vlogging, and that's why his videos are still getting over 1 million views every time he uploads. Is because he's kept it his own way, and that's great. That's fine. So this is it for the Lazy Podcast episode 8. Thank you very much for listening, whether you're listening on YouTube or we are also on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen your podcasts, Anchor, I don't know where. Just type in the Lazy Podcast and you will see the Lazy Podcast logo on it. Again, thank you very much for listening. Let me know on the comments or on my social media what you think about this. Do you think Casey Neistat is still the king of vlogging? I personally think so, very very much. And I will see you in the next one.